Hey folks, it's Ray at DCRainmaker.com here, and today I've got a look at a GoPro 3 battery and MicroSD charger. Now, if you've been around my channel a while, you know I've got probably a bit of an unhealthy obsession with charging batteries, and maybe it's just because I go through so many batteries. When I'm using GoPros, I'm usually shooting with at least 2 cameras, if not 3 cameras, and I'm often on the highest settings, at the highest frame rates, and so in that case, I'm burning through batteries like nobody's business. And I've literally got stacks of batteries, and I don't usually use like the official GoPro ones. I use all sorts of random ones, and I don't tend to use the official GoPro accessories as much as third-party accessories, simply because I find them a better deal. So last summer, Shane Miller, GP Long, a YouTuber, got me hooked onto this, which is basically this little charging puck thing that closes up. It's like even fake waterproof, and you can put 3 batteries in there, charge it, USB-C on the back, and there's a micro SD card reader. So I bought one online, except the problem was I bought the wrong one. I bought this one right here, which is the one for charging Canon batteries, and it has SD card slots as opposed to micro SD card slots. Not a huge loss for me because I actually have Canon batteries and SD cards and stuff, so I'll use this eventually. But I've dropped the exact links down in the description below, just so you don't get confused and buy the wrong ones like I did. Anyway, the thing that was appealing to me about this particular thing here is that it closed up and charged stuff, which is notable because when I'm usually like skiing or hiking or something like that and I want to recharge batteries, I'm using some of these chargers, except as you can see here, there's actually tape on this. So I use electrical tape and I put it over the top of the batteries, and it's super sketchy. Like, it doesn't work very well. The connectors are really crappy, and so I wanted something a little better. And thus I got this now. So let's talk through some of the specs on it here. First of all, on the outside, they have this like silicone texturing stuff that makes you think that you can bounce it or something. What it's actually for is a bit of waterproofing, in fact. So it's waterproof to IP54. Now, if you break that down, you'll find out there's actually no waterproofing whatsoever there. The 5 stands for dust ingest in the IP54. And in that case, it just means that it can lightly protect itself against dust, which is fine. So if you're at the beach, sand in the general vicinity, not a big deal. I wouldn't like bury this down the sand and hope for the best. And then the 4 stands for light splash proof. Now, I was ballsy enough to go ahead and run this onto the tap, and it's fine. They have a cover on the back for the USB-C port. It's kind of half-hearted, but hey, it does the trick. Still, it's at least nice like for rain and stuff like that. No issues at all. Oh, and one quick note here. If you're finding this video useful or interesting, simply whack that like button at the bottom there right now. It does help out this video quite a bit. Cracking open, you will find 3 charging ports. These are compatible with GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, and 8 batteries. Again, all those are all the same batteries. They're all compatible. There's a slight difference with the Hero 8 batteries in terms of this little blue cap there, which handles, I guess, battery discharge slightly faster or slightly better for certain frame rates, but I use them all interchangeably and rarely have an issue whatsoever. And I use third-party batteries. Again, no problems at all there. So you can see here I can go and stick 3 different batteries in there. There we go. Now, from a battery charging standpoint, what I found was that it takes about 65 minutes to charge a single battery, but it doesn't actually take that much longer to charge a set of 3 batteries. It will charge all 3 batteries concurrently, for better or worse. Sometimes you just want like a full battery to go out and go, but it does charge all 3 batteries concurrently. So if you do want just a single battery, I would take the other 2 out. But it didn't seem to impact charging that much. That was what's funny about it. On the battery charging, it claimed under 2 hours to charge all 3. I found it closer to like 85, 90 minutes. So that was kind of cool. Again, for a single one, 65 minutes. Now, it may be because I've been charging with this beast of a little charger. So what's cool about this is that given it has USB-C on the back, you can charge it with like your phone charger if you're not an iPhone user. But you can charge it with your computer charger, or you can charge it with all sorts of things. This is actually the Skydio 2 drone charger. So this is a 65-watt charger, pumps out 3 amps. This accepts up to 3 amps. I've been using these 2 things together, and it's just rocking like it, no problem at all. Obviously, if you're using a dinky charger, it's going to charge a bit slower. And of course, you can also then use battery packs, which is probably the coolest thing here. So if I'm out doing my thing all day long, I can just simply take this, hook it up with a cable. There we go. Pick the right port and plug it in here. And now I can throw this in my bag as is and charge things all day long. So I'm going through batteries and getting batteries. Now this, of course, is a big, I think 25,000 or 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack. That's way overkill. A typical GoPro battery should be 1400-ish, 1220 milliamp hours. So even this lipstick charger right here will charge 2 GoPro batteries for you. This 10,000 milliamp one will charge, 7 or so batteries. So you don't have to have a bigger battery pack. It just gives you that flexibility if you're like me and really like charging things. Now the one downside is that the charging indicator lights on this are super hard to read. Very, very faint. I'm like, you can barely see that right there. Just not very easy to read. I wish they were a little bit brighter. Whereas the one inside here for the SD card connectivity is super bright. And so I kind of wish that they had swapped them down a little bit more. Speaking of SD card connectivity, so inside here, let's move this out of the way, is the SD card slot. You can see it right there. I've got my SD card in there from my GoPro, and it has 2 more slots up here to be able to store SD cards. These are micro SD cards, to be super clear on that. Again, the Canon one does have full-size SD card slots. That SD card slot reader is pretty darn fast. So they claim with USB 3, it's 90 megs a second. And astoundingly, it's actually true. So if you have the right cable. And so I did some tests here, and it was really interesting, actually. If I used this USB-C cable right here, you can see it's got the blue indicating that it's the faster speeds. It took 9 minutes and 20-ish seconds to download the contents of this micro SD card. On this card, I put 53 gigs of GoPro footage. Well, I just left 53 gigs of GoPro footage on there. So normal GoPro footage, not like just weird files, but actual GoPro footage. 9 minutes, 20 seconds for 53 gigs of that, which I'm pretty happy with. Then I tried this orange cable that came with my LaCie hard drives within 10 seconds, the exact same time. So 9 minutes and 20 seconds, which is great. Then I tried the GoPro cable, which is floating around here somewhere. Here we go. And this was super crappy slow. 22 minutes to download that same content. Point being, it hits the specs it claims. Just double check which cables you're using and maybe try a couple that you have at home just to see whichever cable is the fastest for you. What are the things I don't like about it? Well, one, it is a little bit bulky. Like if you compare, this charger right here with its electrical tape to this, you can see it's significantly smaller. So if you're not planning on like taking this with you out and about on your day, I'd probably just get something like these. But if you want to take this with you and not worry about it, this is great. It's also definitely overbuilt. Like this whole top section has nothing inside of it except just the cord going in there. There's really no need to have this be this beefy on top and stuff like that. So that is a bit of a downside. As I noted, the charging indicator lights are super faint, which I guess is good if you're in a dark room at night, that it's not going to be lighting up the whole room. But in daylight like this, it's really hard to read. Finally, the last thing is I wish this actually just had battery capacity in it. Given this thing is a tank, I wish they just had basically built a single like USB battery thing into it so I could discharge or charge off of this 2 batteries, because there's no storage of battery power in this. This is not a USB battery pack. Still, it's pretty solid. For under 20 bucks, it's roughly 19 bucks or so. I'm pretty happy with it. They also have versions you can buy with GoPro batteries. I think it's 35 bucks for 2 batteries and 45 bucks for 3 batteries. I haven't tried the batteries that came with it, so I can't speak to those, but I use third-party batteries all the time, my GoPros, and 0 issues whatsoever. So anyways, with that, hope you found this interesting or useful or something like that. If so, go ahead and whack that like button at the bottom there or the subscribe button for more sports technology goodness. Have a good one.